101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a transformational author, speaker, and guide, and the author of the book Master Your Breath, Transform Your Life. No other than Mr. Christopher August.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Christopher. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. I am, as you mentioned, an author. I'm a guide. I'm the co-founder of Beats and Breath. We have a incredible breathwork app and a technology called Sonic Breathwork, which blends together ancient rhythmic breathing techniques with modern cutting-edge soundscapes. And I've been on this journey for over a decade now. And having left the corporate world and embarked on my own self-discovery journey that's taken me around the world, I've learned many things along the way and continue to still learn. But at the foundation, at the core of everything has been the power of breath.
The power of breath, indeed, Mr. Christopher August. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and knowledge to the world. What inspired you to write a book focused on breath work as a tool for healing, awakening, and prosperity?
Well, I would say there's many inspirations along the way. One of those inspirations was having a near-death experience, almost losing my life, and coming back from that after drowning in the Zambezi River. I realized not only the gift of being alive, but the power of my own breath. And so since then, I've realized through my own coaching practices and through all the people that I've supported along the way, much of what people are going through in this world is just a lot of overwhelm, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And there's a tool that's free, that's right under your nose that people can use at any point to regulate themselves, to recalibrate themselves, to rewire themselves. And that is the breath. And what I've found after serving thousands of people and facilitating for thousands of people is that the breath is such a master tool. And when you learn how to utilize it in a conscious and intentional way, it can drastically improve your life.
The title suggests breath work is a hidden power. Why do you think these practices still undervalued or overlooked?
Well, I would say that first of all, these have been practiced for thousands of years, breath work, conscious breathing. And yet we haven't really been told about it. Nobody talks about it. It isn't until really recently in the West that this tool has been sort of uncovered and exposed. And so behind breath is this hidden power, this potential to support anybody on their healing and awakening journey. And when, again, you understand the mechanics and learn how to use these specific breathing techniques and exercises, your life physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually begin to expand in many ways. And if we look into any of these ancient cultures, whether it be the yogic traditions, the shamanic traditions, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Hawaiians, you'll find traces of breath in every culture. It's just that it hasn't been spoken about widely.
Indeed, totally agree with you, Mr. Christopher. And how does your personal journey with breath work inform the book's teaching?
Can you repeat that one more time?
How does your personal journey with breathwork inform the book's teachings?
Um, well, it's very much a personal journey that I've taken with this book and all of the things that I've experienced. I only teach from direct experience and share from direct experience. I never share from a place in which, it hasn't been embodied along the way. And, for me personally, there has been many challenges and struggles that I've dealt with in my own life. And for me, it's just this is a way of giving back and sharing how one can begin to transform their own challenges using the breath. And so again, from really my soul, my heart to yours, it's a personal journey into this incredible exploration of breath.
Incredible indeed. What's the most profound transformation you've witnessed in yourself or others through breathwork?
Well, I would say, on a base level, just becoming more clear, more present, feeling more alive, more fulfilled and free within myself. And most people are carrying around barriers and blockages within their own heart, within their own bodies. And when you begin to fuel yourself with this life force energy using your breath, you begin to unblock and clear, purify, dissolve, release all that's in the way of your core expression, which is wholeness, which is joy, which is happiness. And so, through that, what I've seen in my own life is just thinking clear, feeling lighter, allowing myself to live life from just a whole nother level. Doesn't mean I'm still, I still don't have challenges. That's still the case, but I'm able to deal with those challenges with greater ease.
Mr. Christopher, let's talk about the science and practice. How do you balance ancient breathwork traditions with modern scientific research in the book?
Hmm. Well, the why is very important. So, on a base level, the science behind this, if I were just to simplify it, is that we're working with the nervous system, and the nervous system is the control mechanism for our entire body, our mind, and our entire being. And the reality is that most people are in a fight or flight, stressed out, anxious state. We live in a world that is very much go go go, and is all about producing and really doing. And we forgot how to be. And so, through the power of breath, you begin to shift the autonomic nervous system from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state, which is more relaxed, more calm, more focused, more centered, and so forth. And so, through if we're looking at through the lens of science, the really what we're looking at is shifting the autonomic nervous system. Now we can absolutely explore oxygen, and carbon dioxide, how that influences us, but really, just to keep it simple, working from the standpoint of the nervous system, and then how that also then begins to shift our brainwave state from beta, which is a very alert waking state, to a more meditative, calm, clear, focused state. All of this is working together to create a level of coherence, heart brain coherence within the body.
Can you share a surprising psychological or physiological effect of breath work that readers might not expect?
A physiological effect, there's many, but generally what happens when I take someone into a session or it's their first time, what they generally feel is like a tingling, a buzzing sensation, a lot of energy, life force moving through them. It's like almost feeling alive for the first time, because most people feel quite numb in their day to day. They're not, they've been sort of indoctrinated to live life through the mind and not through the feeling state of the body. And so when you begin to have all of this power of this prana and this life force rush through you, there's a whole host of sensations that one can feel.
Sensation indeed, people. What breathwork techniques in the book are most accessible for beginners and which require more practice?
Well, I would say that the most accessible would be just a rhythmic breathing technique, to an even 4/4 rhythm, meaning four counts in through the nose, four counts out of the mouth. It's pretty easy for anybody to try, and most of what we have on our app is very much tailored to that type of breath rhythm. However, we do have more, I guess, advanced or challenging rhythms, which would be more of like the 2/2 1/1 pace, the hyper, almost like hyperventilation type of breathing, taking a lot of oxygen quickly and letting that out. That could be a little bit more advanced for people, and can induce a very trance like state very quickly.
And Mr. Christopher, how do you address skeptics who doubt breathwork's impact on mental, emotional, or financial prosperity?
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that might be skeptics, but what I always tell people is this, is that, you know, the breath, it's something that we do 20,000 plus times a day is breathe. And yet pretty much 0% of those breaths are ever conscious. And so I always just ask people, let's take 10 deep breaths together. Do that 10 times and just monitor what happens just after 10 breaths, how your state shifts from where you were to where you are now. And there's a clear indicator. Generally, when someone does that, they feel just a little bit more clear, a little bit more present, a little bit more lighter. And the more, of course, that you do that, the more intention and consciousness you bring to your breathing, the more your life begins to expand. And everything starts from the inside out. So if we look at reality, reality is very much a projection of our own inner consciousness. And so when we shift our own inner state and consciousness, then our reality begins to shift and mirror the elevation of our state. So it's very much connected to our external reality and external life.
Indeed. So, Mr. Christopher, let's talk about integration in daily life. How can readers integrate breathwork into chaotic modern lifestyles without feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, I mean, what I would always recommend is at least just 5 minutes a day of breathing, whether that's using one of our tracks on our app or just doing it yourself, driving to work or waking up in the morning. Just taking 5 or 10 minutes to integrate this practice into your life can actually have profound benefits over the course of even just 21 days, 30 days. And whether you're washing the dishes or whatever it is you're doing, you can always bring intention and attention to your breath, and through that your life just begins to expand on so many different levels.
What simple daily breathwork ritual you recommend for immediate stress relief or clarity?
Yeah, stress relief, I would say a 4-8 rhythm. That's 4 counts in through the nose, breathing in, and 8 counts out of the mouth. Doing that multiple rounds, multiple times, that will alleviate stress. The extended out breath is very crucial to really letting go of stress and anxiety.
How does breath work interact with the other wellness practices like meditation, exercises, or therapy?
Yeah, it's well, many meditations, their focus is to bring you into the breath because that allows you to become present and allow the thoughts to sort of dissolve. And so it's very much can be integrated into any additional practice. The breath is something that we always do and need to do in order to sustain life, but also to enhance and reach a sense of personal and spiritual freedom. And so this can be implemented in multitude of ways in many different practices and tools.
Mr. Christopher, can breath work truly help people break long term habits or thought patterns?
Absolutely. Most of what we deal with is a lot of negative thinking and limiting beliefs. And so we can rewire those beliefs. Now, everything happens first through the lens of the body. In the body, we're carrying certain points of tension, tightness, restriction, resistance, and so forth. And when we begin to identify that and breathe into those areas, we're not only liberating the body, but we liberate the emotions that are stuck or imprinted within the body. And then through that, we begin to dig deeper into the psyche and the subconscious mind. And we can begin to let go of all the different beliefs, stories, identities, judgments, and so forth that we're carrying.
Let's talk about the challenges in writing process. What was the hardest part of translating Breathworks' experiential nature into written words?
Well, I would say that, for me personally, it's a sacred process. And so, I actually wrote one copy that was 30,000 words and I ended up getting deleted just off my computer. And so I had to reset myself and rewrite. And I realized that that was a version for myself. And so for me, I ended up the second time locking myself in a cabin in the woods for a week and just flushed out the entire story, and then of course editing and all of that. But it's a lived experience, something that I do every day. So for me, it wasn't something that really took a lot of effort. It was just more so piecing everything together to share a story that can be easily accessible and readable for people.
Did your understanding of breathwork evolve during the writing process?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, my understanding is always evolving on what the breath actually is and how it can really enhance our life. And I'm very much just a student as I am a teacher. So I'm very much humble to the path and allowing that to unfold and teach me what it needs to teach me.
So, Mr. Christopher, as a transformational author, speaker, and guide, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, short term, I'm really beginning to expand and seeing this. Um, Really getting deeper into the mainstream and beats and breath and what we're doing being a part of that. And I guess in the more medium to long term goals, I want to impact millions of people and share this wisdom, share this tool with many more along the way, and create and help co-create a world that is conscious, that's connected, that is tapped into not only their breath but the aliveness of this life.
Liveness, indeed. And good luck to your goals, Mr. Christopher. And looking forward for more success. What would be your advice for those people out there that want to write their book?
Mm. Well, I mean, I think the first thing is, validating the idea, validating the idea that, what you have and what you desire to write is something that is, something people will receive, and whether that's one person or 1,000 people or a million people, and really beginning to outline that idea, taking that idea and putting it into steps, into chunks, and then breaking it apart into micro chunks of information. And then the outline is key. I had to do that first, and then through the outline it really helped me just to tap into the wisdom that wanted to be distilled. And so that is like an absolute crucial process. Sure, there's drafts, things you can write, but the outlining piece is really important.
Thank you for your advice, Mr. Christopher. I hope people listening or watching right now, please follow it and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, and share to the world. What's one story from a reader or client that encapsulates the book's mission?
Mm, one story. Well, there's many stories, but I would say, I do share about a few clients in the book, and their experience working with me and working with the power of their breath, and seeing how, for example, in my chapter on manifestation, seeing how one person had carried all these limiting beliefs about themselves. They carried a lot of lack, a lot of scarcity, a lot of fear, and how just over the course of several months, how they changed their life and began to not only upgrade their job, but upgrade their house, upgrade their relationships in so many ways, and begin to magnetize and manifest and create the life that they desire. Now, this is one of many stories, but again, the internal shifts that happen create the external shifts in our lives. And so, this is something that, when we work from the inside out, as above, so below, as within, as without. These are the laws, the Hermetic laws. And when we work within those laws, we can begin to change our life. And that starts with the breath as the foundation.
Mr. Christopher, what's a common misconception about breath work you aim to dismantle with this book?
Um, Common misconception about breath work. Let me tune into that. Yeah, I think a lot of people the looking, from the outside would maybe consider this practice to be woo woo or something that's ultra spiritual. But the fact is that we all breathe and we all share one common thing, and that is the breath. We're breathing the same oxygen. And so when we think about breathing as a way to heal ourselves, as a way to expand ourselves, I always tell people have direct experience. Go in, do it yourself, try it out, and then let me know how you feel. And most people that do that are amazed on what is experienced within that context within their session.
Indeed. Before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Christopher, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essays are already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in fifth season as well. Comedy 101 in second season, and Food 101 in its fifth season too. Geography 101 Love Letters in third season, and of course, my baby podcast, Mental Health 101. My movie 101 and Music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Christopher, if readers take one lesson from your work, what do you want it to be?
Hmm. One lesson. Yeah, I would say that, at the end of the day, when, you are potentially finding yourself in an overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious way of being, to pause, to slow down, to come back to your breath and begin to listen, because the voice that's been inside of you, the ego mind and the ego's voice, is only one aspect of the human experience. Beneath that is your soul's voice, and there's a lot of wisdom that is contained within you. And yet, when you take time to pause, to slow down, to breathe, and to listen, you begin to hear the whispers of your soul and therefore begin to lead a life of fulfillment and freedom.
Mr. Christopher August, thank you so much for sharing your empowering book to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book itself?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the interview. And this is available on Amazon. You can buy it now, Master Your Breath, Transform Your Life, and download the Beats and Breath app on iOS and Android.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Christopher August because if you support him, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Christopher, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.